Let's enable the robot crab to affect the scoreboard and the life bar by dealing damage to the player and enabling us to display a count of how many robot crabs have been squashed. So I've got my GUI scene open. But I don't really need it. What I really need is characters, enemies, and I need to open robot crab scene. Okay. Now, I don't think we're doing anything new in this scene that we haven't done before. Let's set up an export variable to damage the player. So again, we'll call it player damage. And I'm going to set it to 0.5 so that it does slightly less damage than the hazard, but not too much. Because the hazard is like a soaring platform. That was really lethal. The crab isn't quite going to be as dangerous as that, at least not in the first iteration of our game. Okay. And we've got our Boolean for when we're damaging the player. And in our physics process, we have got the condition to test if we are damaging the player. So if we are damaging the player, we want to do more than print damaging the player. And we have done it before. So we just go global dot energy. I did that wrong. I do not need the $sign to access a global, do I? Global dot energy, there it goes, minus equals player damage. Okay. Now we call the scoreboard and tell it to update the score. Get tree dot call group GUI and we want update energy. All right, good. Now we need to configure the player detectors themselves to set the Boolean when we are damaging the player rather than just printing damaging player. So, we've already got that there. So we've already done that. So that's the front player detector. Player detector exited sets it to false. On player detector head, we do something different, don't we? So we need to go, this is when we squash our crab by jumping on its head. So we want to change global dot enemies destroyed. We're going to increase that by 1. So I go global dot enemies destroyed plus equals 1. Again, I want to update this scoreboard, but this time so it is still the GUI, but it's a different method I want to run. So it's going to be, if I go into GUI, update enemies destroyed. So update enemies destroyed. And then we want to disappear, so that's fine. So on player detector rear body entered, if it equals player damaging player equals 2. If it doesn't equal player, if it doesn't equal player, it's just going to do that. And then on player detector entered, on player detector exited, damaging player equals false. Is that all we need to do? Shall we test? See if that's all we need to do. I'm tempted to say that was almost too easy. Oh, maybe it was. Look at that. So I lose life if both player detectors, and yeah, I've reloaded the game. So if either pincer makes contact with me, I lose life. And look, oh, let's do it again. I hope that. So front enemy detector, front player detector, rear player detector works, and if I squash it, I get an increase on the scoreboard here. Well, I'm tempted to say that was almost too easy, but it seems as if it was. That still works. Collect my collectible, and the scoreboard goes up. I think that is the GUI section of this series completed. Job done. I hope to see you in the next section, and I think that will be about animating the player.